Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before the racing gets underway, we want to give a quick moment to our colleague Tyler Riggs, as one of his bosses passed away on Friday. Tyler, just wanted to give a moment for you to share about this.
Yeah, and gotta thank you guys for giving me this moment. You did not have to do this, but I very much appreciate it. I'm going to see JDW on the back of the car tonight. That will be J. Douglas Williams was but for a lot of people, a pioneer in local radio out here in the tri-state area of Northwest Oklahoma, Panhandle of Texas, and South Kansas for K101 Omni Media Group. So if you've heard of that station, but unfortunately, he's passed away. But at the ripe old age of 78, lived a good full life. Did a lot of things. Lawyer from OU, accredited lawyer, was an FBI agent at one point before he got into radio, and was about the local community. Was about helping that local community. One of the big events that kind of poetically passed away while we were doing an on-air special for it was Classic Bowl. If you've ever heard of Classic Bowl, it's 32 years strong now in terms of this, but it's a huge event that honors best and brightest throughout the tri-state area. They call it, and cheerleading, dance band, basketball, football, week-long celebration of high school talent because that's just kind of what they did. Man, they were all about the local scene and helping out the community, and scholarships were given away during all this, of course, to help out these students going forward. And I know there's many kids out there that are now adults, and their kids played in it and doing a lot of great things, not only in those communities, but just across the country, across the world. Not only that, but just a lot of good talent came through K101 in terms of broadcasting. So Pete Mundo, who works for Fox Sports, there's the ESPN personality Amy Lawrence. She came through there. So a couple great people that I'm just trying to pay tribute to him because he was a man that gave me my start here in radio. I just got done with my kind of first year there at the station and couldn't thank him enough. And I know my family's grateful, the community's grateful. People that know me are happy for me. So, gotta honor him tonight. Thank you guys for doing this, and try to go get him in the race here.
Yeah, we just wanted to, like we said, give you the space to talk about him. J Doug, thank you for helping Riggs get to where he's at right now, and so many others being that pioneer. For laps 100 to 105, we will be giving the racers the running around and having fun, but we will have our own little moment of silence out there. But Tyler, thanks for coming in the booth, sharing about J Doug, and have a great race out there.
Thank you very much.
And the racing is about to get underway. Qualifying just ended, and we'll be right back to get to the action. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for racing here in the Hijinx clothing company G-Force Sim Racing Vintage 87 Cup Series. And we're here at North Wilkesboro for the Save the Speedway 200. We've got ourselves a couple of racers that finally decided to come out here and race for 200 laps. And joining me here tonight is going to be Logan Breaky. Logan, thanks for stepping in for tonight. How are you feeling about this race?
Very good. Happy to be here. Should be an exciting event here this afternoon. Nice tiny field here, but that always makes for some pretty competitive racing, especially whenever you come to an old short track like North Wilkesboro here. So it should be an exciting afternoon. A lot of big names in the field here as well. So can't wait to see what's in store for us here today.
It's going to be a great time of racing. On the pole is going to be Jake Houndshell, and also going to be having Hank Steinmiller on his outside, that 75 machine. And both these drivers had a quick run at Darlington last week and continuing to try to have those runs and pushing back into the second row. We've got ourselves Jeff Green coming out, an old timer who's been running well back in old NASCAR days. He actually got the championship in what was the Xfinity Series, what we would call the Xfinity Series now, back in 2000, running that 10 machine. And we also got Seth Harlinson, who's going to be running the 07. Gerald Campbell, after running in the Elite Series earlier today, coming out and running here tonight. Going to be getting 5th, as well as Nicholas Weatherby. And then back in the row behind them, Tom Eldridge, as well as John Weitensdorf is going to be running back there in the 33. And then you've also got Robert Hedges in the 11th position. rest of the drivers did not put down a qualifying time. But Logan, 200 laps here at Short Track Racing. It's going to be a fun one to watch. These drivers will have one fast repair to be utilized, and they've had that rule all season long, and it's cool to see the strategies that these drivers utilize. Of some of them will save that fast repair for the last about 25% of this race, or even longer than that, to have the best run possible, and others will have to use it early for getting in early accidents.
Yeah, it's an interesting twist to throw in that fast repair into the mix, especially whenever you come to a short track, because usually you've got 200 laps around this ringer here, and you want to save your stuff up. You don't want to use it up early in the run, or early in the race rather, and get yourself beat up and not have a car to drive around at the end. But the fast repair, the element of the fast repair kind of throws all that out the window. So we might see some aggression here early on in this race just because they've got that little bit of insurance to fall back on.
The lane you want to be on is in the inside, and that's where Houndshell is going to start off in that 83 machine. As the pace car rolls off, we're going to be getting the green here for the Save the Speedway 200 here in the G4 Sim Racing League.
Pretty clean start here so far. Everybody kind of just letting each other fall into the line there. Our two leaders giving each other a little bit of a lane. Kind of get single filed out. Long race here this afternoon here, Sam.
It's going to be a very long race. This right now. So, oh my goodness, it looks like Weatherby coming into the corner. But sideways there in the 20 machine. Getting extremely loose there. And showing that the inside, yes, is the preferred line, but also extremely loose on entry.
Well, and that's easy to do, get that back end to kick out on you, because that drive down into turn one is downhill, Sam. So it's a downhill braking zone, and that's something that stock cars just have never agreed with over the course of time, is a downhill braking zone. It's always something that catches a stock car out, and that back end, as we saw there, tends to kick out. Uphill. Whoa, off the pace.
It also looks like Todd Eldridge having issues all the way in the back, but Houndshell, it looked like his car kind of dug into that corner, into corner number 3, as caution to the back.
Yeah, as you said, it was Todd Eldridge getting a little bit sideways there on entry to turn 3. Had a good little slide going there, almost had it saved, and then came to stop in front of the field there, or in front of the back half of the field, rather. Bring out our first caution of the afternoon. First of many, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we're only into lap number 4, first caution of the day, and you saw that Todd Eldridge getting sideways, which slowed up a lot of the field there. Luckily, no one else involved in that accident.
Yeah, but a fantastic save up at the front there. We saw it looked like he was just simply off the pace. I actually missed the incident that got him out of shape like that, but it was a heck of a save, especially being our race leader. He did take a little bit of left front damage there, Sam. There's a curb on the inside of 3 and 4 that it looks like he caught right at the pit entry. And he is going to receive a little bit of left front damage from that. Probably something that he would choose to just repair rather than take the full fast repair at this point.
Yeah, it's a little too early to want to use that fast repair. Also, it looked like there was some contact between Green and Campbell back on that replay, but we'll have to wait and see as we're coming back to the live screen. It looks like only actually, that's going to be Weidendorf in the 33 machine that comes into the pits.
So an interesting fact to note is these guys have already put down 2 hours and 15 minutes of track time on this racing surface, Sam. So this track is at a condition that's far from optimal for these guys. There's a lot of rubber laid down, and frankly, I don't think there's a lot of grip out there because of it, because you throw in the track temperature, which is now 112 degrees Fahrenheit. So that track surface is mighty slippery. So I think it'll be a while before we really see these guys settle into their rhythm here.
Yeah, track temp has always been something that we've watched throughout the season. It really translates to when the track cools off. There's certain drivers that just pick up their pace a lot quicker than everyone else. And when it's slick, different drivers decide to come out. Looks like the lights are out from the pace car. It's going to be Hank Steinmiller leading the way here as we're coming to lap number 8 of 200.
Really good launch for our top two right there, Gerald Campbell and Hank Steinmiller. As you said, they rocketed off the top there on that restart.
Looked like Houndshell able to try to get by the 07, but also being pressured at the moment back in 4th place, as it looks like the battle for 5th place now underway as the 24 Weatherby able to get under the 07, almost contact there, as also Tyler Riggs spinning it around.
Yeah, he spun it down into the grass. It shouldn't. That might bring out a yellow here. iRacing might say that. No, it's going to keep on trucking there. Good save from him. It's a long road for recovery, but plenty of time left to do so.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Plenty of time. Another car going to be pulling into the pits. That's the 11 of Randy Kokine. Going to be putting the 11 machine into the pits at the moment, doing some repairs as heavy damage for the 11 machine.
Yeah, not sure what the issue was there. You mentioned some contact, I think. It might have been... I'm not sure what the issue was. Got a yellow on the racetrack, though. We'll go back and look at that when we get a chance.
Looks like it was Tyler Riggs once again having issues through turn 1 and 2 for the 26 machine, and it looked like it was on the entry once again coming into turn number 1.
Yeah, I just think that's going to be our problem corner for the night, because it's hard to see as a spectator, Sam, but when you're out there driving and you can feel it in the car. It's not a noticeable drop, but the car definitely behaves like you're braking downhill. And I think it's just going to be our problem corner all afternoon here. And I mean, the first few incidents rather have been proof of that.
Yeah, we're actually going to do a cockpit view of this, so you actually can see it's slightly going down like Logan's been saying, and then it just snaps on the 26 machine, overcorrected a little bit too much, and into the wall. You see him going in.
I went back and I took a look at that 11. There was a little bit, I guess he had obtained a little bit of damage there from the first incident of the afternoon, and it looks like his engine actually let go on him there. So a very unfortunate situation there. Now, the fast repair will normally take care of that, Sam, but if you have it unchecked, as most drivers usually do in a race with fast repairs, they leave it unchecked by default and only check it when they want to use it. So a fast repair would normally take care of that, but it would appear that Randy might have accidentally had his unchecked, so he's going to have to wait the full 30 minutes for that engine to get repaired, unfortunately.
And 30 minutes here at a short track could really put you almost 50 laps down at times, as these drivers on their best lap times are coming around the course less than 20 seconds around here. So you could really be losing a ton of time being on pit road for that long, as it looks like two drivers did come in besides Randy. That's going to be Whitendorf and Riggs in the 26 and 33.
So maybe a little bit to store in the memory bank here for a lot of these drivers here early on is a little bit of caution into turn 1. You know, we're seeing a lot of guys. Our first caution happened over there in 3 and 4, but we've seen 3 or 4 separate incidents where guys are getting extremely loose braking into turn 1. So maybe something to keep in the memory bank, like, okay, I need to be a little less aggressive on the entry to turn 1. Kind of use it as a corner where maybe I'll set a guy up to pass into 3 and 4.
Well, it's on the entry of turn 1 where we're seeing issues, and then also on the exit of where we've also seen some cars having trouble. That's where Houndshell damaged his front end with getting into the dirt and crinkling up that nose just slightly. So 2 spots that we already know are deadly for these machines, but you never know. Coming off these corners, these drivers, they said that they feel a little bit more snug than usual, but there are times when this car just wants to snap on you on exit. So that's another thing to watch out for as these drivers are running around here at North Wilkesboro and the Save the Speedway 200. As we're on lap number 16 coming to 17. Looks like the pace car laps are off. We've got Steinmiller, Campbell, Green, and Houndshell, and Weatherby is your top 5 as the pace car is about to pull off.
Saw Hank get a good restart last time. A little bit of a bump there from the 31 this time, maybe urging him on to get going. Not as good of a launch as they got last time off of 3 and 4 there. Single file all the way through. It's the bonus of having these single file restarts, Sam, is the restarts tend to be a little bit calmer.
Yeah, they tend to be a little bit calmer, as you don't have to worry about a car underneath you and also the car behind you trying to dive bomb and take some positions. I think what's really helpful is the fact that our points leader, Blaine Atkin isn't here because Blaine Atkin is known as we're seeing a pass for the lead underway, possibly. It's Campbell trying to get the run off the corner, just not able to get it just yet. Trying to get some help from 10, gets loose off.
Yeah, a little bit of sideways off the corner there, and you see him wash up the racetrack getting into turn 1, and that's going to open up the door for the 10 and Jeff Green to have a look. Not going to be able to get that done either. Just seems like everywhere around this track, they're struggling for grip, and it looks like it's going to be one of those races where you kind of just got to stay on a guy's back bumper and almost force him into a mistake to get by. It's going to be tough to really drive the car by a guy. Whoa, almost a little bit of contact between the 10 and 31.
Yeah, you can't really, with those late blocks, you honestly could just chop someone's nose and ruin your race. You got to be careful when doing that, Gerald. But it's working out so far for the 31 as he's trying to pull away from the 10. But like I was saying, Blaine Atkin isn't here tonight. He is usually your driver that dive bombs here on these restarts and tries to gain as many positions as possible, going back for a battle for 4th place. Looks like Weatherby trying to get by Houndshell, not able to at the moment, but it's clogging up the rest of the field behind him.
Yeah, it's an absolute dogfight back here, and as you said, it's allowing the top 3 to kind of get away and run their own race. And 83 of Jake Houndshell is leading the charge here from this 4th place on back here. It's 4th on back to about 7th place that we're seeing right now, all the way back to Dallas Minehan there.
Harrelson and that 07 machine running the Clemson Tigers uniform, and that 07 machine, rough week last week for most of the race until he saved up his fast repair for the last 20 laps and finally made a great run up, and I believe he finished up in the top 5 to finish out that race. So doing better, running 6th at the moment, no damage for that 07, and doing quite well trying to hold off Dallas Minehan.
Yeah, and you make a good point there about saving the fast repair. It's almost a bit of a strategy call. It throws a little bit of a wrench in terms of strategy, because you could be having a really rough race, as you said. You taking your beatings, you can't keep it off the wall. You're spinning out every other lap, but as long as you fight to keep yourself on the lead lap and you just take your medicine all race long and you say, okay, I got to save this fast repair. I've got to save it. You do everything you can to make sure that you save that fast repair. You throw it on with about 20 laps to go, all of a sudden you've got the best car in the field, and it gives you a chance to win, even if you're having a rough race. So it's a really interesting twist every time a fast repair is thrown in the mix.
As we're still watching this battle, we're 6th place going underway. We're actually going to move up to our leaders as it looks like Campbell's inching closer and closer, bringing with him Jeff Green onto Steinmiller. But here's a question for you, Logan. With the drivers that get this damage and are just running these laps, trying to stay on the lead lap and waiting to utilize that fast repair later on, when you get used to running a car that's damaged, maybe a little bit harder to turn, when you get that fast repair, do you feel a lot more comfortable with a fresher car than usual?
Your car feels about 2 tons lighter, I can tell you that much. I've been in that scenario where as we see a battle for the lead here between the 75 and the 31. I've been in the scenario where I've had a fast repair in the bank, and I've been driving a car that's it's ready for the dumpster, but it's still got enough on there where I'm not at risk of blowing up the engine or ending my race. And I throw on that fast repair with about 15 laps left, and the car just feels faster than a jet, man. I mean, it's unreal what that'll do to you when you're running a damaged race car the whole race, and then all of a sudden you've got a brand new one to drive with.
And that's something to watch out for some of the cars running in the back, but still side-by-side action for the lead. As Steinmiller and Campbell still side-by-side, but it's all brought in Jeff Green, who's trying to bump the 31 up into the lead, just not able to help enough. Maybe Jeff Green might have to use the bumper. Steinmiller and Campbell making contact there, and here comes Green right on the back bumper of the 75.
Little argy-bargy off of turn 4, and that's going to pay the dividends of Gerald Campbell. But as he said, it's going to open up the door for the 10 and Jeff Green here. Very good action up at the front in this top 3. Only 30 laps into this race.
Yeah, 30 laps in, about to be 169 laps to go. As Gerald Campbell leading the way at the moment, as it looks like Steinmiller getting shoved out of the way. He moved from 1st to 3rd, but don't look back now, because here comes the 83 machine of Houndshell, who's coming with a head of steam, running on that last lap, about 4 tenths faster than everyone else in front of him.
Short track racing, Sam, is one of those places where you just gotta check your tempers at the door. You gotta be expecting a little bit of a bang on the door whenever you're fighting for position, and that's exactly what we saw with the 31 and the 75. It's never intent. Well, I shouldn't say never, but I would imagine 30 laps into a race that it wasn't Campbell's intention to go up there and give him a little bit of a bump, but that's just what happens at short tracks. You're bound to come together, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, man, if you also look at Campbell's machine, there are some dents all over the back bumper and the hood. Campbell has used that bumper a couple of times trying to move machines to make them go faster. Same with Green. So their front bumpers are going to be used up here, and if they use their bumper a little bit too often, they might have to worry about some engine damage later on.
A little bit of a diamond cut strategy I'm noticing here from Jeff Green in that 10. He's entering the corners a little high, although this time he's going to enter it low. He's got a nose on him here. He's going to enter to the inside, but the laps prior we saw him diamond cut a little bit to get that run off of 2, and it's going to pay dividends here as he's side by side, door to door with the 31.
Trying to get by the 31, and looks like might be able to get it done here off of turn for Jeff Green, and will do it as the 10 machine. Just almost got it there, as Campbell still on that rear bumper, somehow still in the quarter panel.
Now he's going to get the pass done, and while we were watching this battle, there was a little bit of action back here in the pack. I think I saw the 75, I think, got a little bit of loose coming off of 2, and it really backed up this second group.
Yeah, I mean, Steinmiller all the way back to 7th place at the moment. So 75 machine went from the lead back to 7th in just about 20 laps or so. So a huge mistake can cost you greatly right now early in this race.
Yeah, he actually, I went back and took a look. He looks like he was actually just a little too aggressive getting back to the gas, and it got snapped sideways on him, and he spun down into the infield grass. Didn't throw a yellow because it's off the racing surface, but that's why we see him lose so many positions, and now see him scored in 7th position.
And just want to give an update for cars that are out of this race. Randy Coquine going to be putting that car behind the wall. Looks like Tyler Riggs 1 lap down, and another car looking like they might be going a lap down. That's Todd Eldridge, that is running that 96, red, white, and blue with some stars on there. I gotta say, Todd Eldridge's machine always looking clean every single week.
Nice little Olympic paint scheme there for the gold medalist, Todd Eldridge. As you said, seems to be struggling this afternoon. A few dents on that machine as well. Seems to be fighting the nail-handling race cars. We see our leader, Jeff Green, closing in on him. Would be the first car he laps at a natural race pace, I think, under Green.
That would be the first car being put 1 lap down under Green on track. The next car that would be on Jeff Green's hit list would be Robert Hedges, I should say, and there goes our leader by the 96, and we'll see how our leaders and the rest of the cars in the lead lap can get through lap traffic. There's been times where lap traffic and lead lap machines actually make some contact and have some issues, so something to watch out later on, and possibly even right now, is a car that's making some moves up to 7th place is going to be John Whitendorf in that 33 machine, being challenged by the lap car of Tyler Riggs, so that is not for position going on right now, but already up to 7th after having some issues and gaining quick on Steinmiller, who looks like he's just having a rough day now after the contacts that he's had.
Yeah, and that's just a very ill-handling race car right there for Hank Steinmiller in that 75. He's got quite a few dents on there as well, and might be in his head a little bit there after the incident he had off of 2. But as you said, John Whitendorf making a charge, running in 7th, and this is the point in the run here, Sam, where we're seeing, we would see guys who maybe have saved their tires a little bit, saved their stuff, start to maybe mount a charge through the field, because everybody else has been racing hard. But if you're at the back, you're kind of just like, okay, I'll just hang on to what I've got, and whenever this run goes green for a bit, I'll be able to pick them off one by one whenever my tires are a little bit more fresh than the other guys.
I think the main thing that's helping Whitendorf as well is that he actually came down the pit road on that last caution that we had.
Yes.
So the 33 machine, fresh tires and out there on track. Did have a little bit of contact, got it fixed up, but it doesn't look like it's hurting him too much as he's running just as quick as the cars around him. Other battles that are pretty close right now is going to be the battle for fourth, as hopping on board with Weatherby, getting by the lap machine of Eldridge. And what was looking close is no longer close, as now it looks like Seth Howardson is gonna be moving up to closer and closer to Jake Houndshell, which these guys are only less than 4 seconds away from our leader of Jeff Green, but just because of how short this track is, it's almost like a mile away.
Yeah, it's only about our qualifying times were 19, or pole time was a 19.1, and the race pace right now is about 20 and a half seconds. So as you said, yeah, 4 second gap is monstrous here on a short track. As you said there, but Jake Hounsell, as you said, is really starting to make a gap. Or excuse me, the 07 of Seth Harrelson really starting to make a gap on the 24 of Weatherby there. We saw them battling pretty hard at the beginning of this run. He's closing in on Jake in the 83 car.
Yeah, it just seems like the 07 is much better through 3 and 4, but loses time through 1 and 2, which is keeping both the 83 and the 07 at an equal distance at the moment of a little bit less than a second.
Guys, the 83 got really sideways getting in the 3 there. Don't know if you caught that the back end was really hanging out there, almost drifting it around 3 and 4. This is where tires are really starting to fall off. So you've got the combination now here, Sam, of a racetrack that's got very little grip because it's got so much rubber on there, the high track temp, and now the tires are starting to fall away. So it's just, these cars are going to turn into a handful here before long.
Well, also Outshell was someone that had some issues early. His caught in the back. That is going to be Eldridge. That is spun out in our. Is it going to be Steinmiller? There were multiple machines around.
Yeah, okay. So it was Eldridge, probably brought out the yellow, and Steinmiller just happened to spin right after him.
Here's what we believe brought out the initial caution, but 2 cars did spin around. This is Todd Eldridge in the 96 machine, coming off of turn, just losing it off of 4 and nosing that bumper into the inside wall. And then, it looked like Steinmiller lost it same spot, just a little bit further back.
And I think that was just a product of, like I was saying there, the old tires and the slick track temps. It's easy to lose. It's easy to lose a handle on these cars that are already a handful to drive, even on new tires, Sam.
Yeah, they really are, and nosed it as well for Steinmiller. You got to see where Eldridge was after Steinmiller's spin passing by him, and it's going to be our 3rd caution of the day on lap 54 for these drivers. Is be seeing that most of them coming into the pits. Only car that stayed out, though, is going to be the 3 of Christopher Morris Jr., who's been pretty quiet for today's race so far. We're used to seeing that 3 machine being up front and challenging for the lead all race long, but we have not talked about him all race yet.
Yeah, he's kind of been hanging around until now, obviously, kind of around mid-pack, kind of just biding his time. You see there's not a scratch on that machine yet. I'll knock on wood here for him. But he's driven a good race up to this point, a good 56 laps under his belt here, and looks like he's going to take a gamble. I don't know if he came into pit at all. It doesn't look like he did. So
no, he's not.
It's going to be an interesting call there because old tires here is a little bit sketchy, Sam.
They are going to be extremely sketchy for these drivers. Looks like he was just going for a lap lead.
Yep.
We'll be drifting to the back, but Gerald Campbell actually was the one that came out of the pits faster than the 10 machine, and it looked like that time that was gained was based off of how quick 31 was on the pits. Wasn't even the pit stop. It was just he was running quicker going down pit lane.
Yeah, it was a dead heat coming out of the pits as well there between the 31 and the 10. It was maybe about a corner panel that separated the 2 of them. So it was a great race off of pit road. Gerald Campbell's going to reassume the lead that Jeff Green worked hard to get from him earlier in the race.
Cars that drifted back. It looks like Steinmiller is going to be starting back in 8th. Houndshell's going to be in 3rd. Then you have the 07 in 4th, and then Weatherby in 5th. So we'll see if the 75 after that pit stop, will be able to get back out there and have a better run than he's had so far. Also, we'll see if Christopher Morris can get up front and challenge some drivers. Car that got the free pass was going to be the 8 machine of Robert Hedges. Free pass goes to the 8 car as Tyler Riggs still lingering back in 11th place, trying to get some redemption after those early spins. Pace car is going to pull off, and we're going to be going green here on lap 59.
Oh! Big shot getting into turn 1 from Jeff Green to the back of Campbell, and it's actually going to benefit. It's going to hurt Green more than it did Campbell.
Yeah, Green came in with a head of steam, and he did that on the last restart, looking like he was trying to push 31 and maybe get him out of shape. Did not work out. Here comes Houndshell and the 83 machine, our pole sitter, trying to get back up front to the point. Right now, side by side, for second place between Jeff Green and the 83 of Houndshell. We'll see. It looks like Houndshell going to be able to get by, and Jeff Green getting loose as well as Houndshell coming through. Looks like they hit that bump coming off the 4.
I think these drivers maybe made a little mental note as well from that last green flag run, like how awful these tires get the longer the run goes on. So they're trying to get everything they can in terms of track position on these restarts. So this is definitely the most aggressive restart we've seen.
Oh, extremely aggressive these drivers are, and I'm surprised Jeff Green didn't try to. I mean, I know he was trying his best to move the 31 without wrecking him, but overall hurting his machine more with that front end damage. That could possibly be some engine damage or just a little bit of aero damage for the front end.
Yeah, but that's the benefit you get. Caution on the racetrack there. That was real quick. That's the benefit you get of coming to a short track is you could beat the car up, and as long as there's still some power under that hood, it's going to drive just fine.
It was going to be the 96 of Todd Eldridge coming out of turn number 3, spinning around. You'll see here on this play. The 96 coming around and just losing it, entering turn number 4 and right to the pit entry. Going to be able to get back out on track, but that is going to bring out caution number 4 as we're getting to lap 64, about to be 65.
It's a little too heavy-footed there, I think, trying to get it back in the throttle to get some power off the corner, maybe get the back end to rotate a little bit, but a little too heavy on the right pedal there.
And actually, it's going to bring our leaders into the pits. It's going to leave the 07 out there all on his lonesome, as well as Weatherby going to be on 10 lap older tires compared to everyone else that just came in right now.
Yeah, interesting call here, and it could be similar to what we saw earlier with the 3. Just staying out to get those bonus points to lead the lap. Maybe a little bit of broadcast screen time as well, because I know that's the card I like to play as well. We'll see here if they dive into pit road, but it could be something that they want to try early in the race. It's only lap 65.
Ooh.
They've got quite a bit more circuits around here. Go ahead.
The 3 of Christopher Morris Jr. went with a 2-tire stop. The only driver to do so right now. So going to be putting the 3 machine up to 3rd place so far.
This is the time to do it, Sam. It's early in the race. If you make a strategy call, you're like, you know what, I'm going to see how this works. And if it doesn't work, then okay, lesson learned. Don't do it again later in the race. So I think that's maybe what we're seeing here from the 3 and from the 2 leaders who stayed out, the 24 and the 07.
Well, it looks like they're going to be staying out for this run. I mean, they were only out there for about 9 laps, maybe about 6 laps for under green. So feeling like maybe their tires can still suffice for everyone else that just got fresher tires. With this 4th caution, it's actually going to put Tyler Riggs back on the lead lap. That makes us have 11 cars on the lead lap. Only 1 machine has DNF'd from the race. It's going to be Randy Kokine and the 11, as it looks like Todd Eldridge is going to be bringing that 96 into the pits to repair some of that damage.
Yeah, and to your point about the 24 and the 07 only having about 7 laps on their tires, they didn't run very hard on that restart either. They kind of maintained where they were at coming to the restart. So they kind of just fell in line and they rode and weren't all too aggressive trying to make any passes there. So they might have saved their tires a little bit better than everybody else did in those 7-lap time period. But It's just something that we're going to have to wait and see, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see what it's like with drivers that are on, right now, 10-lap older tires. And then we've also got Christopher Morris Jr. giving us a little preview of what 2-tire stop is going to be for these drivers, and everyone else going to be back on the 4-tire stop. So interesting strategies are going to be seen throughout here. Space car lights are off, dipping it to the inside line as everyone else goes high. Going to be ready to go on lap number 69, I should say. As the green flag back into the air as we're coming to 132 laps to go.
Gerald Campbell diving way down to the inside in turn 1 there, trying to get an early pass done on the 3. Not going to happen just yet. He's going to have another look again here to the inside. And I think 4 tires are going to prevail in this battle here.
Yeah, 4 tires. You're able to just carry a lot more speed through the center of the corner, and that's where you're seeing. And also on the exit, where drivers can really get back onto the power, are much better than these other machines, as Campbell trying to still get by the 3, not able to just yet. But you got to know that the 24 and 07 are just sitting ducks right now. Oh, the 24, Weatherby gets out of shape.
There's a big moment there for the 24, and that's going to aid Campbell, I think, in getting the pass done on the 3, and it's also going to allow him to just scoot on by the 2nd. We're seeing the top, something that we see.
Outshell gets contact made up into the outside wall. Caution will be thrown.
That was a big knock, too. That was a big bump against that outside wall. Got a little help from Jeff Green there.
That's just the aggressive nature that's just going to continue to build up until we get past the halfway marker, and then it's probably going to boil over. But you're going to see entering turn number 3, Outshell being challenged by the 10. And the 10 machine, Jeff Green, trying to make the pass here, and getting pinched was the 83, who was trying not to run over the 3.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really something that you can. It's just short track racing, I think. Honestly, it's the 83 was having a look to the inside of the 3, as the 10 was having a look to the inside of the 83. So it's just everybody was trying to go for the same place at the same time, and just came together. Not a racing ending incident by any means for the 83, but might be a little frustrated with that.
Yeah, a little frustrated. You see the back end being knocked in, as well as a little bit of the front end. Most likely we will see that 83 in the pits trying to repair that damage as he's in the pits at the moment.
Was on board with the 10 of Jeff Green there as well, and it's not maybe a little bit of a lockup from the 83 just before the 10 got into him, might have backed him up into the front end of the 10. A little bit.
It was completely locked up, trying to make sure that Houndshell did not want to run into Christopher Morris Jr. in the 3 machine. So he locked up those tires, got a little wiggly, and then Jeff Green didn't notice that with the situation that was going on, because you're so close and the reaction time. It's just simple racing incident that happened there. And Jeff Green tried to get aggressive, but I wouldn't completely blame that on Jeff either, because like I said, the reaction time that these drivers need to have to fix that, I don't even think it's possible for them to even slow down quick enough with how quick that was.
Looks like we saw everybody stay out this time. I didn't see anybody come to pit road.
It looked like from 6th on back, those drivers came in. So that's going to be the 07 and the 24 still on older tires. Now going to be on 18-lap older tires compared to 6th on back. Leading this charge of cars that came into the pits, that's going to be Christopher Morris Jr. But cars that are on a little bit older tires, only 8-lap older tires, is going to be Gerald Campbell and also Jeff Green in the 10.
So we've got a pretty good idea of what kind of speed everybody's bringing to the table here, Sam. We're seeing the 10 and the 31 seem to be the quickest right now, but could be a situation of it's only lap 76 and everybody else is kind of just saving their stuff and wait until the end to really make a charge.
Yeah, I mean, based off of best lap times that have been placed all race long, Gerald Campbell has put down the fastest lap of a 19.327 second lap. So the 31 machine looks like might be the fastest car out here, but we know Jeff Green also has a pretty quick short run car. We'll have to wait and see as Fate's car is off, and the green flag back in the air for the 07 of Seth Harrelson.
Remember old tires on that 07 versus newer tires on the 31. Caution might have balanced it out just a little bit, but we'll wait and see. Here's the 31 gets a good run into 3. 24 driving it in pretty deep there. He's going to get the run off the top, trying to hold off the 10 of Jeff Green. You're doing so many things at once here at North Wilkesboro. You're trying to fight the guy in front at the same time. You're trying to hold off the guy behind. A bump from the 10 to the back bumper of the 24. Green not afraid to get in there and mix it up a little bit here.
Well, Green kind of understands that these cars can take a beating if you hit cars in the right spot. So you can start moving machines. It looks like Gerald Campbell trying to make the move for the lead, pushing up the 07 up high, and we'll see if Weatherby can be able to follow suit. As of right now, these drivers are going to be trying to make this move. I'm watching them, and it's interesting how the cars react through the center of 3 and 4. That bump in the center of the corner actually is affecting these machines way more than I was expecting, as these drivers are still making heavy contact in the back for 5th place.
Yeah, there, as you said, the bump in 3 and 4. Whoa! 07 and the 24 a little bit coming together. No harm, no foul.
It looks like Jeff Green might have been pushing Weatherby there, so forcing the contact just a little bit. But Jeff Green's ready to go, and the longer he's stuck behind the 24 machine, the more that Gerald Campbell can start to pull away a little bit here, as it looks like Harrelson is going to be stuck on the outside still with Houndshell below him. Jeff Green going to be trying to make a move here for second, not able to get his nose there just yet as he pushes the 24 up high.
Yeah, and a good battle back here between Harrelson, Morris Jr., and Steinmiller.
Oh, Jeff Green stepped out a little bit, almost made contact with the 24. As they get a little bit loose, it's going to bring back Dallas Myhan. Excuse me, I said that was Houndshell, but it's actually Myhan in the 41 that's moving up through the field.
Yeah, kind of just lurking there in the 4th position, waiting for these two to sort their battle out. And you see Jeff Green really driving the wheels off, putting the bumper to him. That looked like a little bit of impatience there, Sam.
Well, that's the same move that's happened multiple times, and it just looks like he comes in the corner with so much speed that when he tries to slow down, it just wiggles and wiggles up into the 24 a little bit, almost spinning the 24 car all completely around.
Doing a little bit of a diamond cut, getting that run off of 2. Remember, 24 is also on older tires than everybody else. He stayed out 2 cautions ago with the 07, so holding these guys up just a little bit, so a little bit of frustration coming out from the 10, I would imagine. 24 doing a good job holding his own. He's moves up to the top. You see, the older the tires are, the better run they get off the top, it seems, and that's kind of what the 24 is doing. Might be letting the 10 by. Might be a case of message received there, as it's a pretty easy pass for the 10 going in through 3 and 4 that the 24 gives them there.
Yeah, it was an easy pass, but it gave up a gap of 1 second. That is going to be slightly removed. Jeff Green now in a little bit fresher and more space to work with than the 10 machine. Might be able to gain up space, but still, the 24 machine of Weatherby still under fire as Dallas Myhan and the 41 machine getting under the 24.
A little bit of a 4-wheel slide under braking from Myhan there. Pushed up the track a little bit of wheel having to be put into it off the corner.
Car to watch out for is the 3, though. He's on the freshest tires out there.
Yeah. Patience again. Patience is key at short tracks there. He's looking to might try diamond cut off the corner. That's what he's going to do. Get to the inside of the 24. Does he make it 3 wide? No.
Yeah, that's a risky move to try to go 3 wide here at North Wilkesboro. And it looks like Houndshell decided to make some moves. And he pushes the 3 up a little bit, making some contact in the rear bumper.
Yeah, a little bit of bump getting into 3. Whoa! Back in, trying to swap ends on him there. Gonna look, have a chance. Not gonna go 3 wide again. The track's wide enough, but that don't mean the drivers like it.
It's wide enough, but honestly, that entry that you're gonna get all the way at the low line, you might push yourself up and take out the 2 cars above you. As finally, Christopher Morris Jr. able to move forward, as well as Houndshell. Both these drivers on the same lap time they pitted, which was on that last time that we had our drivers coming to the pits, as it looks like it's going to be Weatherby and also the 07 of Harrelson going to be still side by side back there for 6th place.
The same tires there between the 24 and the 07, so a pretty even battle there as well. I just keep watching that top lane is pulling so well off the corner, and that's where you guys seem to prefer to be whenever You know, a lot of times you'll see him just concede the spot, but that top just pulls so well. They're able to fight back. Car sideways in one, or really, really loose. I think it was the 3 of Morse Jr.
Yeah, contact was made between, it looked like Houndshell and Morse Jr. My hand, which Jr. to be back, as Houndshell's got some damage on the rear end of that machine, and it looks like Morse Jr. might also have some contact on the 3. As these drivers are racing harder and harder, it's going to be hard because we're getting closer and closer to that marker where we're going to just let these drivers race, and we'll have our little moment of silence for J. Douglas Williams, who passed away this past Friday, was a colleague of Tyler Riggs, who's running out here tonight, running right now in that 7th position and really behind and around this whole entire Hornets nest from 3rd on back.
Good recovery, too, for Tyler Riggs. He was scored a lap down, has not used his fast repair yet, or at least hasn't by the looks of his front end. But he's on a great recovery drive, as he said, in 7th, and he's looking to get the pass done on the 07 as well to move up to 6th.
And doing a great job so far, as the 26 machine still pushing forward, trying to get up as far as he can. And with the contact that was made between the 83 and the 3, and also the 1, it makes you wonder how much damage is affecting these drivers as they're not able to catch up to our leaders. So our 3rd place driver is about 3.5 seconds away from 2nd place, where you can move up there. Jeff Green is right on the back bumper of the 31.
Yeah, he's really reeled him in quick. But as you said, those two have built up quite a big gap, as it's a hornet's nest from, well, not really 3rd. He's kind of on a spot of his own, but from 4th on back. Caution on the racetrack here, Sam.
Caution in the back. Tyler Riggs looks like he's the one, and also looks like other machines involved. Cars upside down. That's going to be the 8 of Hedges, who finally gets his car right back up.
Looks like it actually... I think that actually started, Sam, with the 07. He got loose off of 4, and Riggs just had nowhere to go. Ran into him, and the 07 is able to drive away with minimal damage, but he's the one that started this whole incident.
As we're going to be seeing here on the replay, here's the 07. Can come off 4. Little loose as he was. Contact with Riggs into the inside wall, coming back up onto the track. Riggs making contact with Hedges, and Hedges gets absolutely demolished by Steinmiller, flipping the 8 upside down, able to continue going. But man, heavy contact for a lot of machines out here, and I don't believe any of them have used their fast repairs, but I can only imagine the 8 car will be using his car's now into the pits here right now.
Yeah, and that was a heavy hit as well for Steinmiller, and I think Steinmiller has used a fast repair, because I looked over at him there on that last green flag run, and his car was spotless. So I think the 78 is in a rough way right now, as he has already used his fast repair. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he might be done for the day. As
we are looking to see, as it looks like all the drivers able to get back out there. Tyler Riggs now into the pits, as well as Dallas Myhan, and we just got to the 100-lap marker for these drivers, so I believe we'll still be under pace lap. We'll be back once we're green, but we're going to give ourselves a little moment of silence for these drivers as we give tribute to Doug Williams, otherwise known as J. Doug. as we're getting ready to go green. We're actually going to stay silent once we go green, but up front, it's going to be Gerald Campbell in the way. We're going to stay silent for J. Doug, who passed away this last Friday. Green flag back out in the air. J. Doug was an honorable pioneer in the woodworks area of Oklahoma for radios, and our colleague Tyler Riggs, who's racing out here, he really, his boss passed away on Friday, and we wish the best for all of them out there. And thank you for letting us have that moment of silence for J-Doug. We're back under action here, as up front, it's going to be Gerald Campbell leading the way. Jeff Green, who's been aggressive and trying to get up front. Man, Logan, Jeff Green looks like he's just hungry to get a win here with...
Yeah, he's beating the back end off that 31, and he's diving it into the corners so deep just to get to him. You see it do it again. He rolls through the middle so much better than the 31 does right now, Sam.
I mean, is it just because of entry, or maybe it's just because he's letting his car roll out and not using as much brake? I mean, what is there something out there that the 10 machine maybe knows that we don't know out there?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, I'm sure that real life experience comes in handy more times than we think. But it could be something as simple as, I mean, he's just driving it in a little bit deeper and maybe touching a little bit of throttle to get that car to rotate through the middle. Might not do the favors for his tires later in the run, but you know, he's whatever it is working for him, because he seems to maintain that speed all the way through the run. I'm not sure if that was a touch, but it was enough to get the 31 sideways and have a look to the inside for the 10.
Yeah, it looked like Gerald Campbell actually got on the throttle maybe a little bit too soon there, and causing the 31 to get a little loose. But Green thought he had an opening, but it faded away. It looks like Gerald Campbell's turn 1 and 2 is just so much better than the 10s.
Yeah, and Campbell drove it in deep into 3 and 4 to maintain that lead there to keep the 10 at bay. The 10 definitely looks to be the faster of the two, though, right now.
Yeah, it really does. And we're here at North Wilkesboro for the Save the Speedway 200. And I got to say, this series has been putting on a great show. Gerald Campbell in the lead, Jeff Green in second. And these two have been battling back and forth all race long, as we're coming to 89 laps to go once they cross the line. Logan, it's been a fun race so far. We've had a handful of cautions so far. You think since we're past the halfway marker, you know the aggression level's up. Do you think we're going to be seeing a couple of more cautions here?
Oh, absolutely. And with how fast that first half of the race went by, I think that's kind of a little bit of an alarm for a lot of these drivers. Is, man, that didn't take as long as I thought it did. So I'm going to have to get a move on here. Guy that's really trying to get a move on, though, is Jeff Green. He is just beating the back end off that 31 right now. He got into him again off of 4. Great job by Campbell to hang on and weather that storm, though.
I mean, you can even see on this nose cam, that 31's bumper is completely scraped up. It used to be completely black with a little bit of blue trim. You're just seeing a little bit of that metal gray right now as that thing is being scraped apart, as our leaders are coming up to Todd Eldridge, who right now is on the lead lap, but will be put a lap down once they get by. It looks like the 07's put it around.
Not going to be a caution, though, as he's out of the way of the racing line. He's down there on the grass.
And will be able to get straight once again, but losing a ton of ground. Now back to 10th place with that heavy damage, 07.
Our leaders just put the 96 another lap down. Still in a heated battle there.
Jeff Green that are looking good is the battle for 4th, but yeah, Jeff Green still hounding for that lead.
I'm seeing him run a much different. He's been doing it all race. He runs a higher line into 1, and he does that right there. He cuts down in the bottom off of 2 to try and get himself a run. He doesn't do it as much in 3 and 4. He likes that low line in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2, we really see him put the diamond cut into effect here.
I mean, would you think that this difference on entry for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 is just because of the way the track's laid out? I mean, with the way that it's angled and everything?
Yeah, I mean, the corners look very similar, but they're so much different. 3 and 4, the exit of 4 is uphill. You climb uphill, so you don't get all that big speed. You don't get that big runoff. The entrance to 1 is downhill, and it's a relatively flat exit of 2. So you get that momentum on the downhill braking zone that allows the 10 to get to the outside with a lot of speed, and then really cut down to the bottom on that flat exit of 2. So I think that's very indicative of the way he's driving. A little bit of a touch there on the back bumper.
Jeff Green the way he's driving, just irritated. And I'm looking at some of the lap times other drivers are running, and then no one's running as fast as our leaders are. And that, from second back to third, there's almost a 2.5 second gap. But that battle for fourth, that's heating up as well, as they are right on top of one another. Looks like Weatherby trying to get by Christopher Morse Jr.
This is the biggest gap we've seen formed right now. The 31's able to pull out of maybe about 2 car lengths on the 10. Jeff Green might be backing up just a little bit, cool the tires a little bit, and then he's going to be saving it up to make another charge here in about 5-10 laps. But a little bit of a breathing room here for the 31 of Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell loving to see this type of a space finally clear up just a little bit. But as we say that, here comes Jeff Green once again, hard charging it through turn number 1, trying to do a little bit of a early apex to help that 10 machine out. But that's going to be losing a little bit of time there as we're coming up to 78 laps to go. These lap times are going to tick away quick as we only go around this track. At the moment, based off of how these drivers are running on these slightly older tires, they've been out there, the lap times they're running are just a little bit over 20 laps. 20 seconds per lap.
A little bit of network issues there for the 31. Not what you want to have when you're leading.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a little bit frustrating for him, and even more so for the 10. Blinking in and out of the service there.
If we go back to Richmond, there was a blinking incident there. I'm trying to remember who those drivers were, but some cars actually blinked into one another, causing one of the machines to be flung into the outside wall and causing a caution to come out. But simply, if you just blink into someone else, it could be disastrous for all these machines. Out here is looking like the next car that's going to be put a lap down out here. Actually, I believe that's going to be the 8 machine.
Yep.
That's going to be put down 2 lap down. Once our leaders get by. A rough day for Robert Hedges, who we saw go for a flip earlier this race after being hit by the 75 machine. But Gerald Campbell looking to get a win here, and I believe this would be his first win of the season for that 31 machine if he can get it done here, as well as Jeff Green looking for his first win, as all these drivers looking to have a solid day here today. I believe the only winner that had out here in the top, actually we got 2 drivers that have won previously. That's going to be Jake Hounshell in 3rd, and also of Christopher Morse Jr. in the 3 machine running. Both have gotten wins so far this season.
Yeah, and as you said, Gerald Campbell and Jeff Green both are winless on the season, so they're both fighting tooth and nail for their first win. And honestly, it looks like it's going to come down to one of those 2. We've seen the 83 of Jake Hoochnell, run 3rd most of the race, but he just hasn't had enough to keep up with our top 2. He's got the 3rd place pace pretty much locked up at this point. But I think it's gonna come down to the 10 and the 31 when it's all said and done here.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing the pace of the entire field. It's incredible to watch as these drivers are running so hard against one another. As actually we're gonna drop back to the battle for 6th place that's going on. That you've got a couple of machines. We got 3 machines right on top of one another. As caution's gonna be thrown back, as it's gonna be I believe Steinmiller in the 75 machine running slow and will be the cause of our accident here today.
Another rough afternoon there for the 75. Looks like it was the 07 involved in it once again. Oh, you got on the grass a little bit there, Sam. It looks like on exit.
They were running close the longest time, Steinmiller And yeah, the grass was what helped, but the 07 is what finished off the 75. And that's going to be bringing out our 7th caution of the day, as we're coming to less than 70 laps to go once we get green again.
Yeah, not a lot the 07 could have done there. That happened pretty quick. I'm surprised at how quick the back end snapped around there, even after touching the grass on the 75. That was that's just a bad combination. Touch the grass at the wrong spot, because that's about where in the corner you're going to be putting the power down to get the drive off. So just a really unfortunate time there to get down there and clip the grass for the 75. Everybody off course on pit road now, getting their service done.
And Steinmiller's going to be trying to get that lap led, as well as Rubber Hedges will be trying to get his lap back, but not looking like it is going to be possible for the 8 machine. I believe the free pass went to the 96 of Todd Eldridge, putting himself back on the lead lap for that 96 machine.
Yep, back on the lead lap for the 96. And it was Gerald Campbell beating Jeff Green out of pit road.
Well, since we are inching closer and closer to a quarter of the way to the end of this race, and that's going to be a quick time, we're actually going to give ourselves a quick break for here, and we'll get back underway. And once we go green, we'll be back for all the action, as we're going to have a word from our sponsors. And the lights on the pace car are off. Here we are in the Hijinx clothing company G4 Sim Race Vintage 7 Cup Series. Pace car rolls off. We're going to be coming up to 136 laps finished here for this race, with 65 laps to go. It's going to be Gerald Campbell, Jeff Green, and Jake Hounshell, your top 3 at the moment.
This is where I think we'll see Jeff Green be most aggressive here. A little bit of a gap formed from Campbell, but I think Green's going to try and make the most of his new tires to try and get around that 31. He was struggling to do it on the old tires, so he's got fresh rubber on there now. I think this is the chance we'll see him take.
Yeah, the Jeff Green and Campbell looking like the fastest cars out here, as well as Jake Hounshell at one point looked like he was going to be battling it out for our leaders, but just hasn't been looking the same since our first half of the race.
Yeah, and as we said there too, it looks like he's the fastest he is in terms of race paces. Looks to be 3rd place, because he just hasn't really had anything for our top 2. Nobody has. It's been their show all race long, but Jake's in a heated battle right now with the 24 of Nicholas Weatherby, who's had a bit of an up and down day here, Sam.
Yeah, Weatherby, he's been trying track position as on. It was Weatherby and the 07 that stayed out on the strategy of staying on the old tires, and it worked for a bit for these guys until they finally got on the long green flag run, and it hurt them on the long run. But Jake Hounshell's been looking a little odd as he's coming off the corner loose almost every single lap, and it's kind of making me
got a
nervous.
trouble in one here, Sam.
That's going to be Dallas Myhan, who's going to be in a of trouble. Other cars that might have been involved, Tyler Riggs and others, but we're going to take a quick replay here for caution number 8.
Wow, awesome job to keep it out of the wall and off the front end of the 26. A great job from Tyler Riggs as well to avoid that. What a what an effort there to spin that car out and not hit anything. That was impressive.
Sometimes you just got to show off your driving ability by doing a 60 out there, and that's what Dallas Myhan decided to do. Was that 41 machine had a wicked ride. As we're going to be taking a different look, well, let's see what those hands look like in that cockpit, because obviously he was wheeling that thing through turn 1.
You'd be surprised to know how many drivers practice spinning themselves out for reasons such as this. I know there are tracks that I do it at, Richmond being probably the biggest one, where you feel that back end come around, and you race enough races, Sam, you know when it's not a slide that can be saved. As it's one of those slides where if you try to save it, you're going to nose it up into the wall. So,
well, I rewatched that, and the favorite thing about that cockpit cam is he just kept his foot in it and was turning the same way until that thing finally centered out and collected himself. Great driving by Dallas Myhan to save that thing, as well as Tyler Riggs just woe up enough to not make contact.
Yeah, exactly. He just stands on it there to spin himself out and do a donut. And the reason is again, if he tries to save that, he noses it up into the fence by overcorrecting. And if he locks it up, he's going to get piled into, Sam. So if he holds the brake, there's about 3 cars that are going to pile right into his door. So the best thing in that situation is exactly what he did, and he did a great job of doing it. And Tyler Riggs did a great job of missing him.
Great job all around. Tyler Riggs, though, is going to be staying out there and is going to be leading this thing at the moment in that 26 machine. We haven't seen him up front for a while, and honestly, he's got the race pace to be running up here in our top 5. But this 26 machine it doesn't look like he's been having a consistent day like he's been wanting.
No, he's had a rough go of things. He's caught up in an incident early on, and he's just been climbing the mountain ever since then. But he's got himself up to the lead here, and he has used a fast repair. That car is spotless, as you can see, so he'll probably have that to his advantage here on this restart.
Do you think that's? He used the fast repair, and then this caution happens where he just used the fast repair, and then he got Dallas Myhan spinning in front of him. How much is that irritating or just frustrating in a way of, I just fixed my car up, well, let's not wreck it immediately afterwards?
Yeah, it's always, it's a gamble anytime you use it, right? He's got 55 laps to go to the end of this thing, but we've had long green flag runs here, Sam, so he's making the call like, okay, maybe this thing goes green to the end. Maybe this is the only shot I have at getting my car fixed up. So could be a good call here from the 26.
It really could be, as we're going to be coming to 55 laps to go here in the Save the Speedway 200. Tyler Riggs leads the way as we're going green with Gerald Campbell right behind him.
A good launch for both the 26 and the 31. Gonna have a look to the inside, though. Is Campbell not gonna quite get the job done? He's gonna have to fend off the 83 and the 10, as well as focus on trying to get by the 26 for the lead. He's gonna do it here. Not quite gonna have him cleared, but you can throw a blanket over the top 5, top 6 for the first time here today, Sam.
I'm watching the 3 machine as he is trying to make that third lane really work. That's Christopher Morris Jr. in the 3 machine, who's just trying to wheel it on the outside. They're still 3 wide with Tyler Riggs stuck there.
That's
on the inside.
Not gonna work.
Houndshell. Oh, Houndshell, hard contact into the wall, and you got to see all of that here, but we're going to take a second look at that caution.
Yeah, I think that was one of those moments whenever you're the 24 and you hear outside two, and you're like, oh gosh, this is not going to end well. And we see him get down there on the curb and kind of push up into the 83, and it's on from there. 2 hard knocks on that inside wall. Both those guys still have fast repair though, so not all is lost.
Yeah, looking back at it, it looked like the 24 might have touched the apron dirt area, and that's what caused them just to jump up and get near the 83 and causing the contact. Very hard contact, though, on the left side of the 24 of Nicholas Weatherby. And we'll check out and see if these drivers decide to use their fast repairs as we're getting closer and closer to the final quarter of this race with 50 laps to go. Once they cross the line again, it's going to be Jeff Green who's up front in that 10 machine.
The perks of being the co-commentator, Sam. I came off mute inside of the iRacing chat just for a little bit there after that caution, and as you can expect, the 24 was not happy with the fact that they were 3 wide coming off of 4, but it wasn't. You know, it's not like it was an intentional thing to go 3 wide either, because the 26 had been passed by the 10, and he just pushed up the racetrack, and 83 wasn't really in a position to lift, so really wasn't a lot that could have been done there.
Well, I mean, Weatherby also was part of the earlier 3 wide racing where you've had Green. I mean, not Green, but you have the 3 of Christopher Morris Jr. and another machine in the middle. So Weatherby was probably just like, I'm on the inside. Can we stop doing this so I can get moving forward? But was not able to, and contact being made.
Yeah, and just looking at it again, and it looks like the contact almost looked imminent there, Sam, because the 24 had clipped the curb before they had even gone 3 wide, so he had already started to push up a little bit into the 83. So that incident looked like it was going to happen, whether or not they were 3 wide or 4 wide or just 2 wide. So it just an unfortunate scenario, but you know, I'm telling you, anytime you hear outside 2 or 3 wide, it always makes you it's kind of an oh crap moment there, because short tracks are never places where you want to go 3 wide, but sometimes you're just forced into the situation.
Yeah, it is tough for these drivers, as you know, it's going to ramp up more and more from here on out. This is only caution number 9, and to be fair, we can still get up to probably caution number 12 or 14 on how aggressive these guys are probably going to be at the start. But here's the one thing. Jeff Green's at the front of the field for this, so we don't have to worry about Jeff Green trying to bump someone out of the way. But is there someone else out there in the field that might feel like they need to start using their bumper?
Oh, I'm sure there would be, and I'm sure that if we get a caution late enough, we're going to see guys who haven't run up at the front at all this race really start to get aggressive and start using that bumper quite a bit. The thing that we got to keep note of is Jeff Green stayed out and did not pit. The only guy that's been able to stay with him, Gerald Campbell, did pit. He's back there in 6th on fresh tires. So should this thing stay green, does Campbell have enough time and enough tires on him to get up there to Jeff Green and fight for this win?
It's going to be close with the tires differential, but we're green out here with 48 laps to go. Now 47 as our ticker goes on, and it's side-by-side action for second place as Tyler Riggs on the oldest tires. He's been out there for 22 laps, so we'll see if this 26 machine can last, but I would imagine he's going to get blown by a lot of these machines.
Jared Campbell already passed the 24 on that restart, and he's now going to get by Dallas Mahan. He's on the inside, so he's a man on a mission right now. Jumped to the inside before he got to the...
Well, we had some technical difficulties, but we're back on the air to watch the final less than 20 laps to go here. And Logan, I think you got to watch at least a little bit there. I know there were a couple of cautions that went down while we were missing that, but back to the action here for the last couple of laps of this race.
Yeah, while we were away there, Campbell has worked his way back up to the front, and he's remained there. In the meantime, Jeff Green, who has been our other top competitor, has stayed out of the trouble and has kept his nose pretty clean and is currently scored in 7th. So he pit on either the first or second caution there while we were away with our technical difficulties. He pit for fresh tires. So between he and Campbell, he has the fresher set of tires on there right now, so he's got a little bit of a group to go through here before he gets back up to Campbell, and that's fantastic news for that 31.
The only problem for the 10 machine now is he wants this thing to green, make some passes here. Now, here's the thing: we're running under the 87 rule set, except for the fact that we have changed the fact that the drivers can get a lucky dog, which that was not implemented until later on in NASCAR's life cycle. But for these drivers, there is no green-white checkered. If there is a caution within the last 6 laps of this race, the race could be done, or it could have a 1-lap shootout. So these drivers are going to be a little antsy here, hoping that we can stay green, because if we start to have a lot of these cautions that we've been seeing under our technical difficulties, this race could be going under green, finishing under yellow.
Yeah, and Gerald would prefer that it goes green and then maybe a caution comes out with 3 to go. So he would like it to stay green, but the only caution he would like is one that happens late and ends this race under yellow. So that being said, we talked about this earlier. There are some guys up here who we haven't really seen running up at the front while this race has stayed green. But, I mean, you've got Christopher Morse Jr. there in that 3 machine. Tyler Riggs, who we spoke to at the top of the show, he's currently scored in 3rd. So there's some guys up here that are showing their strengths a little bit late into this race.
And also back and forth, you got Steinmiller and then Hound 5th, as they're all wanted back from 3rd on back, trying to figure out where they're going to be staying. They're 3 wide back here, and the 24 car's in the middle of it, as he was previously. As the 24 gets spun around.
Sideways, is he going to hang on to it there? Campbell would hope so. It looks like he does, but right in the middle of that was Jeff Green. He's got a big gap to the rest of that pack now. There goes the 75
around. Hard contact with the 07, and then also cars behind them. Looks like Weatherby tried to get through, might have been pinched up into the wall, and slight contact with the 75.
The caution out, lap 188. About 12 laps to go. It's not what Campbell wanted to see.
Absolutely not. You know, at least we're going to have at least one more restart for these drivers. What you're going to see here, the contact, there wasn't a lot of contact, man. It's just because he got loose on the outside, and then the 07 had nowhere to go, and see Steinmiller trying to go up high. It's Todd Eldridge actually was the one that got into the wall, trying to avoid the machines, but got his machine stuck in the outside wall of turn 2 for those drivers.
So we saw on that restart, I didn't see a lot of aggression there from the 3 of Christopher Morse. So maybe just trying to hold on for a solid finish. Knows he doesn't really have anything from the 31.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of looking like.
Yeah, just didn't see a lot of. Granted, we only ran about 2 laps, but I didn't really see him stay right with him there, going through 1 and 2 on that restart there. So he kind of fell back pretty quick and was trying to just hang on to what he's got from the looks of things. But we'll see again. If I'm one of these guys up in the top 3, Sam, and I haven't had the best race, but I've got myself in this position, I'm probably just gonna try and ride and make sure I finish well. You've been given the gift of good fortune, and you're in a good spot. If these guys really go for it and try and full send to try and get the win, it could hurt them. You know, if something happens, they drive in there too deep and they spin or something, you throw away that good finish. So it's going to be interesting to see what the 3, the 26, and even the 83 do here to try and get around Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these drivers and based off that last restart, I would say Tyler Riggs is the one driver that's kind of in a tricky situation. Just because that looked like the 83 was trying to make some moves, as well as Wittendorf in the 33. He was trying to make some moves there on the 26, just not able to because there wasn't enough time. And it's so hard to get runs on machines in front of you on these restarts compared to when we're going green. And we were only green for a couple of laps there. And Jeff Green still all the way back in 8th place.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a mountain to climb there. He's got to barge his way through the field where the lights are out on the pace car. So we are going to be going green this time by with 8 laps to go. So he's got 8 laps to make up 8 spots. So, and that's no small task at North Wilkesboro. We've seen guys take about 5 laps to get 1 pass done. So I don't want to say all hope is lost for him, but it's looking pretty grim for that 10 machine right now. I think this is it's in the hands of the top 3 here.
It's the Hijinx Clothing Company, G4 Sim Racing, Vintage 87 Cup Series, the Save the Speedway 200 here, and we're coming to 8 laps to go. Tyler Riggs diving in deep and under the 3.
That's the kind of aggression you want to see from these guys on the restart. The 3's going to get the run, though. Tyler really couldn't get the power down on the bottom.
No! Carlson looks like the 07 was wall riding for a quick second, and the 07 able to continue moving forward, though. A little bit of suspension issues might be there, so he's blinking in the back. But right now, Tyler Riggs, under heavy pressure from 87, gets a little loose, and around they both go. Tyler Riggs able to save it, same as the 87, but on the outside, it's going to be the 07 pulling away, as well as Dallas Myhan in fourth.
Yeah, they both got spun down into the grass, so that's unfortunate for Tyler Riggs. It's now Campbell and Morse Jr. our top two. They've kind of run away from the rest of the field, and honestly, Morse is doing a pretty good job of hanging with them here. He could have something for that 31.
Trying to get closer and closer. 5 laps to go, and if there's a caution here, it might end this race. So right now, our leader, Gerald Campbell's feeling pretty comfortable with there not being any green-white checkers in this league. And right now, the 31 machine, he's just got to hit his marks as he gets a little loose out of 2.
I think that 3 is faster right now, Sam. I really do. He's closed that gap a little bit, right? Ever so slightly. I think he might have a little bit fresher tires than that 31 machine does, and we're seeing that gap close down ever so little. Really, I mean, it's half a car length now. Coming
the
to 3
last
to go.
lap and the lap before that, it's been a 10th every lap. The 3 cars been faster than 31. As we're coming to 3 laps to go, that looks like that last. Gerald Campbell actually was the victor of staying a little bit faster than the 3.
See him close in a little bit there. Got one spun down into the grass. It's not going to bring out the yellow. They're going to stay green. He keeps it rolling. That was the 07. He was running in 3rd. That's going to hand 3rd place over to the 41 of Dallas Myhan. Spinner off of 4. They hit off of 4. That could be the race.
That's going to be Weatherby able to get straight, as well as others behind. We continue to stay green with 2 laps to go, and Gerald Campbell feeling comfortable in the 31. If a caution comes out, he'll be your victor, as you got Christopher Morse Jr. in the 3 trying to get by. It was Gerald Campbell last week who thought he had the win made a mistake under coming into pit road when you were going to finish the race under yellow. It was Morse that got it last week, and it looks like it's going to be Gerald Campbell this week. That's a 6:31 trying to get around turn number 4, and we'll get it done here at the Save the Speedway 200 for Gerald Campbell.
What a race for Gerald there. That was a win that he very much deserved. He worked all race to get that done. Spent most of the afternoon battling with Jeff Green, who unfortunately is only going to have a top 5 finish to show for it. I thought for sure, Sam, it would be those 2 finishing 1 and 2.
I mean, re-looking at some of where drivers were finishing, the battle for 3rd, the closest finish, and Weitendorf was able to get that done by 8 hundredths of a second over the 41 of Dallas Myhan. So sneaking by a podium finish, but it's going to be 3rd of Gerald Campbell. That should have been burning it down last week at Darlington, but this time at North Wilkesboro gets it done.
So fun to watch these cars do their burnouts there. They're such heavy bodies. You always cock a wheel up in the air whenever you whip one of these things around for a burnout. Very narrow straightaway there for him to celebrate, but like I said, a much deserved victory, very well earned. He drove quite a impressive race there, holding off Jeff Green for most of it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic run for the 31 machine of Gerald Campbell as we came to the end of this thing, and I'm sorry to lose my voice after the intensity that was coming at the end of there, but as we're coming to a close of this thing, we got to really look at the results of this race. Gerald Campbell begins to burn it down. It's the 31 of Gerald Campbell that gets first, Christopher Morse Jr. second, John Weitendorf, like I said, a close finish at the end. They're able to pass the 41 at the end to get 3rd place. Dallas Myhan 4th. Jeff Green moved up from 8th up to 5th on that restart. Tyler Riggs was our biggest loser on that restart, moving all the way down to 6th place. Robert Hedges is going to get 7th, 8th, Seth Hurlson, Nicholas Weatherby, and Jake Hounshell. And our final 3 competitors, we had Hank Selman, Stan Miller, I should say, Todd Eldridge. Both those drivers able to finish out this race, but it was Randy Koedking that was not able to, as he was done early in the race session. Well, as we're getting ready to talk to our winners of our top 3 of Gerald Campbell, Christopher Morse, and John Weitendorf, we're going to have a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk to these drivers. we are back. We're going to be bringing up our drivers for this thing. See if anyone's in the waiting room. Pulling through. Right now, we do not see any drivers in the waiting room. That one. Excuse us for a second as we're still trying to get drivers at the ready. It looks like we actually don't have any of our drivers here to be brought in. So as we wait for them to come in, Logan, what were your thoughts during most of this race?
Well, I mean, I honestly expected there to be a lot more incidents that we saw. We had some good green flag runs. I think our longest one was maybe about 55 laps there under green. So it was. I think the smaller field played dividends in terms of how clean this race was. I expected an exciting finish, which we got. Was very impressed by the three, who we didn't show a lot of speed throughout the race, but mainly because we didn't see him running up in the top three for most of the days. So I was very impressed with the speed that he had in his machine at the end of the thing, at the end of this race, and just an impressive run for him overall.
Yeah, it was extremely impressive to watch Christopher Morris Jr. I mean, I was watching him try to make that third lane work, and at some points it looked like through the center of the corner, third lane actually was the better place. You just couldn't get the launch that you were getting in the middle and lower lanes. So right now, still have not don't see any drivers ready for interviews, but I mean, Gerald Campbell, I don't think that we really brought it up during this race, but last week at Darlington, Gerald Campbell had the race won. The race was going to finish under caution, but then the 31 thought we were going to a green-white checkered, a little relapse, pulled it into the pits, and actually gave the win to the 3 machine this time by a week later at North Wilkesboro, able to get the win for the 31 machine. And it's crazy to look at how in 1 week things can change.
Yeah, it sounds like a story of sweet redemption there, especially whenever you've got the 3 finishing second to the 31 this time. So it's good to see a little bit of a redemption story there, as well as first win of the season for Gerald Campbell. So that'll be good. That'll be good for him going forward. I'm not sure if it's a win and you're in format. I don't think it is, if I'm correct in saying so, Sam. But
yeah, there's actually going to be no playoffs in this series. We're in the 87 series, so it's based off of how many points you've got collected throughout the whole entire season. And it's interesting to look at Gerald Campbell. Really, this is a week that he needed to have. Christopher Morris Jr., another solid podium finish. But this is really hurting Blaine Atkin, who was not here for today's race. And we don't know when he'll be back. We hope that we'll see that 05 machine back on track next week. But we're kind of waiting to see if we see Blaine Atkins back in the car.
Yeah, it looks like it was only about a 10-point gap, I think, from Blaine Atkin to Christopher Morse. So this will definitely, I would think, bump Morse up into that first place spot, and maybe even bump Myhand up a spot as well, because Dallas Myhand came home 4th. So a solid day for him as well. But as you said, Gerald Campbell, he's currently shown 16th in the point standings, winless on the season until today. So this could be a good day for him. Still a ways away from that first spot in the points, but there's still quite a bit of racing left to do for this season. So not all hope is lost here for that 31.
It really isn't over, and as we're still waiting for drivers to come in, possibly for interviews, just want to give a brief update on what's going to be going on here on the FRN YouTube and Facebook pages, wherever you're watching. Our next broadcast that we're going to be showing is actually going to be the RTG Talladega Challenge. That's going to be on Thursday night from 4:30. Actually, let's take that back. That's actually going to be at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. That those drivers are going to be racing. And then on Friday, you've got the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series racing at the Glen. That's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Saturday, we've got the Chris Cup as well as the Soda Guys. Chris Cup will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Chicagoland, and the Soda Guys at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time will be racing at the Glen. Well, we don't have third or second, but we actually just got up in here our winner of today's race, Gerald Campbell. Will be bringing him into the booth. As I move him in, we lose him, actually, as he is not up in here, but We'll see if he gets back into the room to get moved up into the broadcast booth. But yeah, we got a lot of selections of races going on throughout the weekend. And the last race for the weekend actually is going to be on Sunday, where we are going to be coming to a close here, coming to the second to last race for the Cars Series. And we just picked them up to watch their races, and they had an exciting one yesterday, 2 days ago, in the Cup Series. But Logan, we're still waiting for those drivers to come in, but do you have any last words as we're coming to a close here?
Yeah, I always like coming up into the booth and doing kind of these one-off events. I'm not a regular on the broadcast team for this series, so it's nice to have a little change in scenery. Nice to call. It was my first time calling a race with the 87 cars, so that was exciting to watch. But looking forward to that broadcast you mentioned on Saturday, where the Chris Cup Series heads to Chicagoland. That's the first race of their chase, so really stoked to be on the call with that one there with Carlos as well.
Yeah, Chris Cup Series. It's been a blast watching them all season. We've had some exciting finishes there, and I think my favorite finish so far for Chris Cup had to be Texas, and the way that all shaked out. That's one of the more memorable ones that I can remember. As it looks like we've got the drivers up in the booth ready for action. We actually have all three now ready, as we're going to start off with the 33 machine of John Wettendorf. Hey, John, we got you in the booth. You got us?
Yep.
Well, you had an eventful, but how race over you?
Yeah, we just kept it real conservative all night and kept the car clean, kept tires on it, and just hung around for the end.
For that final restart, it was going to be less than 10 laps to go. What was your mindset going into those final laps, knowing that you had to gain as many positions as you could?
Well, I've been talking to Seth on one of the other channels all night, and he was telling me about how the outside was working for him pretty well on the restart. So I gave it a shot and gained some positions that way, and then just hung around for that final restart. And Dallas was there in turn 3 at the end.
Well, it's been a blast to watch you guys running around here, and with short track racing, you knew there was going to be contact. Was there anything surprising about tonight that you weren't expecting at the start of the race?
The only thing I was really surprised about, it looked like a lot of guys were having trouble on the exits, so you saw a lot of guys lose it. That's really the only thing that surprised me.
Final question for you there, John. We're going to Talladega next week. What are your expectations? Because Daytona was, Daytona was crazy to watch from the start of the season. How are you feeling about going to Talladega now?
I'm probably going to take a little bit different strategy this time. If anything, probably just ride around for a lot of that one, and once again, just be around for the end.
Well, that's John in the 33 machine. Before we let you go, if you have any, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's just it was actually a pretty decent race tonight, and had a lot of fun.
Well, that's John in the 33 machine, finishing now in third place. Congratulations getting the podium. Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Now we're going to be bringing in the 3 machine of Christopher Morris Jr. into the booth. And now we got Christopher Morris Jr. in the booth, finishing second. You got us in the booth there, Chris?
I do. I got a bunch of background noise. My app for my PC is not loading up, so I have to do it off my phone. But yeah, I got you.
We were kind of surprised to see you finally showing up at the end of that race. It seemed like you were in the middle of the pack most of the race, and at the end you finally started to get up front. How was it from the start of the race to the end for you?
Man, I was so off pace. I'll tell you the truth. I spent all week. I was like, I don't need to practice for North Wilkesboro. I've ran it plenty. I think it'll be good. So I spent all week playing Call of Duty and doing other stuff. Jumped into qualifying, and I was a second off the pace. I was like, all right, I guess I'm hanging out in the back today. And about halfway through the race, I was able to get up to what I felt like decent top 5 speed. And then I just got lucky at the end there with the 2 tires. They had an issue on the final restart, I think from third back, which got us a little bit farther out ahead. And we were able to hang on.
Yeah, Chris, I was noticing that you were trying to make that third lane work for a bit there. Did you ever feel like you finally got that lane at all?
I think it'll work. It just won't work if there's two cars inside of you. I actually think specifically through 1 and 2, the third lane's probably the faster lane with these cars. Jeff Green actually had a pretty decent line he was running where he was arcing it quite wide, but it only really works for the speed on that if you're running out there solo. I think when he was out there by himself, no one really had a shot, and then he ended up speeding on pit road, and you notice he couldn't use that line to work his way back up through the field. So, I mean, yeah, the line that was the best didn't really matter. It was really all about track position tonight. Wish we had a few less cautions. I think that would have made the race a little bit more interesting, but overall, I think it was pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, even with the cautions, it was an exciting finish to watch. I mean, we were looking at the telemetry, and you were gaining on the 31 there, a bit there on those final laps. Was there anything else that you possibly could have done to get to that back bumper of the 31 machine?
No, so I had pretty much given up when I took the 2 tires. I was like, he's faster with 4 tires anyway, but the only hope I had was that he hadn't tried 2 tires yet. And I knew he was on 2 tires because he was in front of me. I had taken 2 tires early on in the race and tried to see how they worked out, and they were pretty good. So I figured if I could stay close enough to him and pressure him, I might be able to get him to make a mistake, but he was solid, man. He earned it tonight. And he didn't pit under caution and give it away, so that's great too.
Well, Chris, before we let you go, we're going to hand the floor off to you for any shout-outs you got.
Yeah, shout out to Hijinx Clothing again for jumping on and supporting the series. Shout out to North Wilkesboro Raceway and their social media team. They helped us promote the race a lot this week, and they were pretty invested in it and thought it was fun. Shout out to you guys, as always, for doing the broadcast and doing a great job. I know we had a hiccup where it shut down, but that kind of stuff happens. You guys did a pretty smooth job of getting it going again, and we appreciate that. And shout out to the drivers for showing up each week. We had a pretty small field this week. I'm not entirely sure why that was, but it should be back up pretty close to 20 cars again next week at Talladega.
Yeah, Talladega is going to be a fun one to watch. That's Christopher Jr. running the 3-car finish. Congratulations on getting a podium finish. Have a great rest of your night there, Chris.
Thank you, man. Have a good night.
And as Chris said, we're hoping to get a lot more people coming out for the next race, and it's going to be a blast at Talladega. Before we get there, though, we got Dr. Gerald Campbell, who is our victor here tonight. Redemption after last week. Gerald, how you feeling?
I feel great not going down pit road and screwing myself over a win, but other than that, man, that was a hard-fought one. Man, I don't think I was ever that far ahead at any point in time. I always had seemed like Jeff Green right on my back tail. So I told you guys last week I was going to come into this race and just I wasn't going to let up. I was going to race really hard and try to redeem myself from what I did to that embarrassment. So hopefully I can recap and put that last week behind me and just start building off of this and just get more of them.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald, speaking of Jeff Green, he was wearing down your back bumper, and there were a couple of scrapes there that he put on. How was it having Jeff Green right on your back bumper for most of this race?
You know what's funny? We just came from – I didn't get any lap of practice, and neither did him. We both came in late and qualified because we were both in a race before this in these same cars, but at Martinsville. And on the last lap, he got into me and turned me around. So I went around this whole race like, oh, crap. He's right on my back bumper again. Is he going to hit me again? So, no, we raced really well, but I just found it hilarious that we raced the whole last race at Martinsville together and then come here and we're right back at it again, not even stopping. And back at just battling each other hard. But I knew if I could just like control the bottom and just not screw up or slide up the racetrack. It was so easy to slide up the racetrack, and he was hooking the bottom so good that if I slid up the racetrack and gave him that bottom, he was just gonna blow by me. And one time he did actually blow by me and get off to a pretty good lead to in front of me. So I thought I screwed up with a 2-tire move there at the end. I didn't think I was going to win that because I raced with 4, and 4 felt great. I went with 2, and I could not hardly drive the thing. So I was just happy to not mess up another race there at the end with a dumb move.
Yeah, Gerald, I mean, we were starting to see at the end there, look like Chris was closing up on you at that moment with coming to about 4 laps to go, seeing the 3-car inching closer and closer. What was going through your mind at that point?
No, he's gonna have to turn me to get around me, because I wasn't at that point. I was like, yeah, it's either I get wrecked or I'm gonna win this thing. So it was just go hard. With the 2 tires, it just messed up my line. I couldn't enter in or stay down to the bottom like I had done the whole race with 4. So it was almost like having to relearn the track into a different way of driving it. So it took a while for me to get it going, and I still don't think I got it there at the end. The 3 just kept closing in, but I didn't give up. I'm covered in sweat from racing with Jeff Green, so I had fun. I had a lot of fun tonight, and man, just happy I finally got a win where I didn't mess this up. So just happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, Gerald, you said that you were going to be pushing it hard here today at North Wilkesboro, but next week's at Talladega. Is there any way that plan is going to stay in place, or you think about switching it up and just lingering at the back?
Oh no, I love Talladega. I love Talladega. These aren't like Talladega where it looks like drafting. It's you have to enter in correctly or you're gonna slap the wall. So at Talladega, if you thought some of my moves were aggressive here, I am tenfolds that at Talladega. It's all aggression at Talladega, and oh yeah, it's you get around me, but next turn I'm gonna try to get around you again. So I like the lead. I like to lead laps, and I like to be out front. So. Yeah, no, at Talladega, I can't wait because it's gonna be a heck of a lot of fun trying to battle Jeff Green, because he's also, when I've raced with him at Talladega, very good at Talladega. So I look forward to trying to see if which one of us is going to come out on top again.
Well, it sounds like Talladega is going to be a blast next week. But before we let you go, Gerald, in celebration, just let you have the floor for any shout-outs you got.
Yeah, thanks PRM team. Tyler Riggs was running good there near the end, so PRM sticking with us and coming out strong today. And then thank you guys. Thanks Morrison for putting on this fun racing that we can go about doing with these cars, which are a blast. These things are such a blast to drive. One of my favorite things to drive on iRacing. So thanks anyone that stuck around to listen to it. Thanks all the competitors for having having a lot of clean racing for the most part for a short track. So and thank you guys for broadcasting it. I'll make sure to listen over to it and everything and see if I can get the memory of Darlington out of it and just go and see if I can talk to you guys more next week.
Sounds good, Gerald. That's Gerald Campbell. Redemption here today after last week, getting that first place finish. Go have a great rest of your night there, Gerald.
Thank you, guys. You have the same.
Well, Logan, I mean, with that, I know we had a little bit of talks about our thoughts overall with this race, but any other thoughts that you had before we come to a close?
Yeah, just again, it was nice to be up here for kind of a one-off event. Thanks for letting me fill in the spots here, and it was a fun race to watch. It's always entertaining with those 87 cars. They're just they're so tough to tame. Those things, you always got to wheel them even in the best of conditions. So it was a lot of fun to watch tonight. It was a good finish, and congrats again to Gerald Campbell there after a very hard-earned victory.
Yeah, thank you, Logan, for coming in, stepping in. My name's Sam Dyer, and it's been a blast to watch. Gerald Campbell battled from start to finish and finally got the win that he probably should have gotten last week, but gets his first win of the season here at North Wilkesboro at the Save the Speedway 200. We'll be seeing the Hijinx Clothing Company G4 Sim Racing Vintage 87 Cup Series next week at Talladega, and it's going to be a blast to watch. Can't wait for all the action to continue on. Remember, FRN will be back on here on YouTube. Come back to action on Thursday, where we'll be seeing the RTG Talladega Challenge Series, and I hope you guys can come out and watch that. But this was FRN Flatout Racing Network presentation here, and have a great rest of your day.